Hi, Ed here from 10,000 Foot View, and I've got another Google Ads quick tip for you today. Just before I jump in, though, just a reminder to please subscribe to the channel. We post once or twice a week, and we'll keep you up to date on all things Google Ads. Okay, so today I want to talk a little bit about Google Tag Manager and more specifically when it'll make sense for you to switch from just manually putting your tags on your website to using Google Tag Manager. So first of all, if you're not familiar with what Google Tag Manager is, basically it's a repository where you can take all of your pixels for, say, Google Ads and Meta Ads and Pinterest and Google Analytics and third-party analytics tools and whatever else, and you can basically load them all into Google Tag Manager and then simply install a single tag from Google Tag Manager onto your website, and it will control all of that for you. So on the surface, it sounds great. And if you have a bunch of tags to manage, it really is great because otherwise, you might find that you have a number of different ways that you're implementing them on your site. If you use WordPress, maybe you're sticking them into your header in your template, or you're using a plugin for those, or some other method, right? But the idea is Google Tag Manager just kind of helps you organize all of those things. So it can be a great tool um, for managing all that stuff. Now, the kind of counter argument to using it is if you only have a couple of tags on your website, like Google Analytics 4, and maybe you use Meta Pixel, um, there is a certain amount of overhead with Google Tag Management. One, you have to create an account for it. Two, you have to like install the pixels onto Google Tag Manager, which if you're going to do it directly on the website, you're replicating that task. And then you have to publish those updates on your website, right? So you're having to log in somewhere else, and then manage those tags in a separate place. So again, if you have a couple of tags, it might just be easier to just install those directly on your site and call it a day. But once you get to, 3, 4, or 5 tags, it's definitely beneficial to kind of have a place to keep track of all of that stuff. So maybe you have Google Analytics and a Google Ads tag and Meta and Microsoft Ads and CallRail, and other stuff, right? Um, so, in that case, definitely using Google Tag Manager is going to be an advantage. Um, and you want to use that. The other use case for Google Tag Manager is if your website doesn't natively pass all of the conversion events into GA4 or to like Google Ads, depending on how you're tracking conversions, then you're either going to need to customize the website code or use Google Tag Manager to create those events. And honestly, it's a lot easier to create, manage those events in Google Tag Manager than it is to do it in code. So that's a great use case for Google Tag Manager, um, and where you should definitely be using it. The last one I would say is if you're building a brand new website, it's probably a safe assumption that even if you're only planning to start with like Google Analytics right away, that in some future time you may get CallRail, you may get Meta Ads going, and you're probably going to be adding more tags. So you may as well start off by using Google Tag Manager, just on the assumption that you're probably going to be adding more stuff later on. The other thing is just, Google Tag Manager does have a bit of a learning curve. I would say like learning how to add tags that are kind of standard ones like GA4 and Google Ads and Meta Ads. It's pretty straightforward. Most people can just figure it out on their own. But going beyond that to create triggers, and to do custom events, and add parameters and things like that, it can get very complicated very fast. And if you don't have a programming background, you may struggle mightily to get that stuff done. So what I'm actually going to do, I will post a link to a companion article I've written. And in that, there's a Udemy course that I think is quite good. There's also a Google certification course on that, and I think both of those tools will be very helpful if you want to learn how to use Google Tag Manager kind of at the next level. Um, so, we use it a lot at my agency. If a client comes to us and they've already got the tags installed on their website, we're not going to go kind of reinvent the wheel. But if a client does want, conversion tracking set up from scratch, we'll usually recommend doing it with Google Tag Manager, and it just kind of sets the stage. If you do need to add more stuff later, it just simplifies everything. So, that's it for today. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insight into Google Tag Manager. If you do want to use it, there's some resources I'm providing here. But that again is it for today. I will see you next time.